In this video, I want to go over a possible set of methods to move like Jackie Chan in real life. Before I begin, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like and subscribe. First is physical training, which I've covered in more detail in previous videos, so I won't really go into it, but essentially a strength training routine plus cardio. Basically some compound lifts with barbells plus accessories to hit muscles that may not be as effectively worked, and for cardio, you could kill two birds with one stone by training your martial arts, specifically pad work, bag work, sparring, so that you train both the cardio and your martial art. Along with this, you'll also need a high level of gymnastic, acrobatic, and/or flexibility as seen in a lot of his movies where he's able to perform these fantastic physical accomplishments. This is most likely due to his grueling training received at a young age from the China Drama Academy, which taught Chinese opera. To begin, yoga would be a good choice for flexibility and acrobatics as it's low impact with easy positions for beginners to start with and has many variations in the type of yoga that exist, so you can mix it around. It would be best to do the yoga after a workout or a couple of hours before, as it does have some static stretching elements. And in the case of static stretching, the National Strength and Conditioning Association has stated that it can cause muscle damage, indicated by an elevation of creatine kinase, which could be one of the reasons for a decrease in performance when exercising. As such, stretching should instead be done as a separate workout or part of the cool down portion. Ideally, you want to get to a level of flexibility close to the YouTuber Movement by David, who has some great videos on stretching routines and flexibility, which you should definitely check out. Along with this, you also want to train calisthenics, specifically movements like pull-ups, muscle-ups, planches, V-sits, and any other that require a certain level of body control to perform. Next is to learn how to fall. As you can see that Jackie Chan and his stunt team have taken many different falls during filming, including ones that were super serious, like in Project A with the clock tower fall, or in Armor of God where he had his skull cracked. And like Jackie Chan, you may not be able to avoid all the damages from falls, but it's better to learn how to than not. It's best to watch videos specific to the types of falls that are most common and how to minimize the damage. For example, rolling when falling forward to dissipate a portion of the kinetic energy instead of having the body absorb it. There's also a parachute fall where the arms are tucked in and you kind of like fall to the side, and those are just two of the many different techniques that exist, including techniques where you may not be able to roll out and so instead have to use like a break fall, or positioning yourself in a way where you won't break any joints or have your head hit the floor. Finally is Jackie Chan's use of a variety of different objects during his fights. In terms of theoretics, I think it's a great idea to try and use your surroundings to help give you an advantage during a fight, but the way he depicts it in his movies can a lot of times be unrealistic. This makes sense though because he's also a performer, and so he's looking for the biggest reaction and the coolest looking thing. In fact, here's a quick lightning round of Jackie Chan using some weird tools, and I'll rate them from possible, maybe, no. First scene, he's using a baseball bat, definitely gonna help you in a fight. Next, he's using like moose antlers or some kind of antlers, and that's like a 50-50. If it's real, it could help, but if it was for decoration so it's fake, it'll probably break fast. Third, he's using like a horseshoe tied to a rope, and this is a level of skill difference, because there is weapons like these where it's like a rope attached to like a sharp object, but it does require practice to be able to wield correctly. So it's a 50-50 again, just because it depends on who's wielding it. Then a sticker label in Jackie Chan teaches you self-defense. He's obviously goofing around, so the actual tool is kinda useless unless you get it over the guy's eye, but it's like super hard. So how do you decide which tool is a good weapon and which isn't? Good question. I've made my own criteria and categories that you can put random objects into to help you decide in a more stressful scenario. By the way, you also want to incorporate the actual surroundings, like items that don't move, like stairs or fixed pipes, that can just block or limit the movement of the opponent. Now, for the categories, they are attack only, defense only, both, harassment, distraction, miscellaneous. The first two are kind of obvious. Both just means that attack and defense are possible. Harassment is kind of like it causing injuries that aren't too serious, so like a ninja star cutting you. And distraction is like a smoke bomb or a loud noise. And miscellaneous in this specific case is anything that doesn't fall into the previous categories. And to determine which category which tool goes into, here are some criteria. First, the shape of the object. Like for example, it's too hard to hold because it's too long or too big or doesn't fit into the room. Next, weight, if it's too light or if it's too heavy to hold. Fragility, is it strong or is it weak and easily breakable? The learning curve, where it takes a certain level of practice and skill to mimic the certain weapons that are created from these DIY objects. And because I made these criteria and categories up, I could be missing some things, but I feel like this covers the overall amount. By the way, there is a separate section of using random tools as weapons, where you have more time to like MacGyver them together. But Jackie Chan doesn't really use that in the movies that I've seen, so I'm gonna skip it. Now, how do you practice without getting into a fight every single day? It's pretty simple. Every time you go to like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or just in your house, try to think of creative ways to use the random objects that exist in that area. And with that creative aspect, put them into the criteria and category that it would best belong in. So I'll give you a couple examples. A aerosol spray like a cologne bottle or perfume bottle, great as a weapon. It could fall into the attack, or it can be the both category. Why? The shape is usually easy to hold. It could be fragile because it's made of glass. The actual effect of what's being used is the spray itself. You hit him in the eye, you hit him in the throat, it's an irritant. You grab a lighter, now it's a fucking flamethrower. Whereas like a bag of chips probably falls into the distraction category. Why? It's way too light for one. But you can sprinkle it on the floor and make some noise to bring the opponent towards you if that's what you want. And you can get even more complex if you know the tool or object very well, like it has some sort of function that you can use in a creative manner. But again, I made this entire criteria and categories up. As such, I haven't really thought of any issues that could possibly occur for a specific tool that's beyond my knowledge, especially with an object that has electronics in it, and it may catch fire or start smoking if used improperly. So how likely is it that a specific object that you want to use may have some sort of negative reaction? I have no fucking clue. As such, it's important for you to learn more about that tool, especially if it's complex, and if you're going to use it away from the manufacturer's recommendations. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and support the channel by hitting the join button for $2.99 a month.